Sure you're following us wherever you like to stream or whatever social media platforms you're on. We are at Michelle Posey, at Real Ally Leger, and at Open Mic Ladies on all platforms. We got a lot to talk about today, including updating you on what took place in Davos. I think there's some updates on Greenland that are going to make left heads spin, but it's okay. That's what you join us for. So much to talk about, right, Elle?
Absolutely. And I'm excited to get started.
That's right.
Let's open that mic.
Taking back our freedom, back to where we started. We're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love God, but in Trump I trust. November 5th, he gon' ride with us. Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor Magaville, the RNC King. 2024, freedom gon' ring. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat. Keep it on.
What do you do when they come for you? Freedom's what you gotta
All right,
do.
welcome to Open Mic, guys. We are here in Tallahassee, Florida. Florida. We have been championing at the Capitol with both Senate and House representatives for different bills and initiatives we'd like to see pass through, ones that maybe we'd like to see not
More
pass.
clarification on or not passed at all.
Right. And this is the part of Open Mic that I think sets us apart from other podcasts and other shows. We actually give you the call to action and try to give you the to help equip you to really do what we're doing. Every time your state legislature convenes, really they have an open door policy inviting you in. And so it's important for you to double check and triple check a lot of the legislation going through. Don't rely on the fact that you maybe you're in a red state or you have a conservative majority, or here in Florida, you have the conservative trifecta with governor, House, and Senate. That doesn't mean that you still shouldn't do your due diligence and give them your voice, right?
Right. It's a republic if we can keep it, and that requires
that.
our participation. So,
All right, let's start here. I'd like to, first of all, David, if we can get to the breaking news as it pertains to Greenland. Guys, take a look at this. Trump and Greenland deal are starting to be revealed. So there is a deal taking place. It will include us in having small pockets of land. We will have mineral rights. That's amazing. The Golden Dome system will help not only protect Greenland, but this entire hemisphere. The deal is designed to block Russia and Chinese influence in Greenland, of course,
which is what we talked about, right?
adhering to the Monroe Doctrine. But it says this means President Trump will have secured land, mineral, and defense ally in all one deal.
Oh my gosh, this is quite incredible when you think about what this does for our region, right? Our hemisphere. One, the people of Greenland have been asking, they've been petitioning for President Trump to help and take over because they don't want to be occupied by Russia or China or their government. They want to stay sovereign.
Yeah.
And that is what President Trump is offering, is sovereignty. You get to hold on to your sovereignty, but we are going to have a reciprocal relationship that benefits both our people.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think that it's an incredible move forward. It's incredible for our country, for their country, for the world. It's good for economics. It's for both countries. He's one of the greatest presidents, I think, in our history.
And our history books will, I think, reflect it, because
we hope so.
We understand that writing the when you get involved in actually participating in writing what your history books and your math books say. I mean, when you and I have a say, or we live in a state where that allows that kind of open dialogue, you'll see that hopefully reflected in our history books. But guys, it's important. We didn't have to put a single boot on the ground. This isn't an invasion. This isn't a takeover. This is two countries sitting down and deciding, brokering a deal of what works for them. And you heard on our show yesterday, Allie, people on the ground, a lot of them, they're saying a majority are in favor of this.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
They don't want to be taken over by Russia or China.
No, because then you fall under their dynamics.
But why isn't NATO helping to push this? Why isn't the UN getting involved?
I think we know the answer to that. They want the globalist agreement. They don't want sovereignty, right? Like they don't align with that. And the fact that we give the most funding to these organizations and it's being utilized to implement something that does not benefit America,
Yeah.
does not benefit the American people, and does not benefit sovereign nations, that's a problem.
It
We
is.
cannot effectively give our tax dollars as a sovereign nation to things that are stripping that away. And I think that is what is so pertinent for people to understand about this deal and about the way President Trump is handling
Yeah.
his presidency.
Well, and let's talk about, while we're talking about the globalist, things have changed literally in the last 48 hours as President Trump has made his way to Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. I know those are 3 letters. It kind of makes me a little nauseous to think about it. But listen, what Trump understands is that you can't disengage from an enemy that seeks to completely annihilate you. You
Right.
have to engage, and you almost have to be the one who's the head of the table. He has now formed the Board of Peace. He sits at the head of the Board of Peace. So look at what has pivoted internationally and globally. He's now in Davos, Switzerland, calling the shots as the head of a Board of Peace. Take a look
Wow.
at this video. There he is signing. Amazing.
Right in the middle.
I think Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, is there. You can see her in the background. She'll have something to say here momentarily. And they like him.
They do. Despite what legacy media will tell you,
Absolutely.
the narrative that they spin.
Yeah.
Congratulations, President Trump. The charter is now in full force, and the Board of Peace is now an official international organization.
I mean, who doesn't want that?
We will now
So-
continue the signing ceremonies, beginning with the President of Argentina and the Prime Minister of Armenia.
So take a look at this, guys. We can bring it back, David. You've got the heads of these sovereign nations that are agreeing to peace. How is everything Trump touches bad again?
Yeah. Why are there people in our nation that are like so anti-Trump and
I mean-
everything, even in our own congressional body, it's Trump is evil
Yeah.
and terrible and he's this and he's that. How? And this is the proof.
And honestly,
This is the fruit.
you can disagree with Trump on like politics and certain things, but do you not understand that he is there brokering peace for across the globe? That's something we should all be championing. But you know what? My guess is if you turn on CNN today, and I'm hoping you don't,
Oh my
you're not going to hear them congratulate Trump on this. And this should be that, and that's how you know they're lamestream media, not mainstream. I also want to show you guys, because this is kind of funny. This is this is Trump taking the stage alongside all of those leaders in Davos, Switzerland. Take a look at the wonderful welcome that he got, and listen, they sat the entire board and all the other leaders before they introduced Trump. Take a look.
Please welcome the chairman of the Board of Peace, the President
Wow.
of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Oh, they all stood. Okay.
We can't even get this in Congress.
Right. Everybody's phones are out. That's amazing.
I love his hair.
I know.
Airman. I mean,
When
That's
was the last
respect.
time, hang on, when was the last time we had a president who was also chairman of an organization?
and not a community organizer.
Yeah. Isn't that great? This is great. And it's very specific. The Board of Peace. He is the peaceful president.
Mm.
Peace through strength. And people don't want to mess with him because they know they're gonna get the find out.
Because they've already done the fine. I can't do that appropriately. They've already done the FA of the FL. It's in the FO phase. So that was obviously when they signed the charter for the Board of Peace. But he also got a chance. Listen, he was invited by Fink, who is like the head of the World Economic Forum, to be the main keynote speaker. Donald Trump was. So think about how incredibly harsh Donald Trump has been on the World Economic Forum, verbally, He's totally refuted their policies here in America, and yet he's being
Just called them
invited
out.
by them to be their keynote speaker. This is how you know the tides they are changing. They're turning. Take a look at Trump coming out. We'll get to some of his message here in a minute, but take a look at him coming out. He seems to be welcoming into a warm reception. Let's take a look. I mean, I sometimes wish, Allie, that we could portal ourselves into another nation to see, because I've got some friends that do travel internationally and will tell us actually that the way Trump is viewed in other countries now, China, Russia, I don't think Iran, I don't think he's like viewed really like by the elites that are in charge.
Not the elites, no,
Right.
but the people.
But the people, we hear
people
about this,
resonate.
we hear about this a lot when we're in DC too, even people that are looking to what America's done in 2024 and what Trump has done, and they want just a little piece of it for themselves in their country to be sovereign and to have freedom and protection. So I wish we could stop demonizing all things Trump in this country, because it's not really.
Well, it's leading to inaction, and inaction essentially is obstruction. And it's not just coming from Congress, it's coming from the people that are being essentially, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but indoctrination has been used, overused. And so there's a lack of cognitive understanding of what is actually going on, because we have not been able to get rid of the propaganda that is allowed through our legacy media, like these larger networks that circulate the TV space.
I agree.
And so I think it's pertinent to those of us that do have platforms. And even if you don't have a platform, it's important for you to have that conversation with your neighbors and your friends.
Yeah.
And just give accurate info and have the conversation where you're able to listen to the other person.
Yeah.
Not waiting to respond, but you're actually listening to what their argument is. And then you're able to give, oh, okay, well, I understand that that's how you may have interpreted this, but have you thought about this way?
Gosh, God forbid somebody expands your thought.
Right.
Because you've actually had to look at something different.
Well, we've noticed too, that when we do that at school board meetings, or we do that at speaking at congressional hearings or legislative committee hearings, we've noticed that there are people that are coming in and they're conflating ideas. They're not understanding proper language and definitions of words that are being used, and they're making it bigger than what it actually is.
Right.
Instead of focusing on what the current legislation says, what does this actually do for you? Not what is it, what can it do? What is it doing?
Because here's the thing.
The intent versus outcomes.
Largely, if I had something that I wanted to roll out or push more as a mandate, I would use fear, because as human beings, we're naturally kind of that is one of the things that we love our brothers and sisters.
Right.
And so we don't want to see, it's a trigger point. And our children, we love our way of life. We love our freedoms. And so if you can get people to be afraid of something, whether it's really true or it's, inflated,
Fabricated.
And that's what we've been hearing a lot too, as we sit in committee hearings. You're looking at the black and white print of what a bill says. You're hearing how paid speakers are actually conflating it. And it's like, wait a minute, you're trying to fear porn your way in and out of this. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Trolling is another thing. And one of the things that a lot of people do really well, I don't think I do this really well. I try to not feed the trolls online, if you know what I mean. But President Trump goes to Davos, and he's reminding the international community of the times that the United States has actually stood in solidarity for peace around the country. I'm talking about World War II.
Yeah.
He brings up some of these countries by name and says, you know what, you'd be speaking a different language if it wasn't for the United States. How about a proper thank you? Take a listen. Take a listen.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did.
We gave Greenland back to Denmark.
But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened.
No, but I love that. I love that he's like,
He's not wrong. You
he's
know,
not.
At post World War II, we had Greenland and then we gave it to Denmark.
Oh,
I
well,
wonder how many people that are out there like Trump's just trying to take over more. I want, do you even know that it was once ours?
this is what happens when you try to, or when you don't, when you allow philanthropists to create educational workbooks or educational materials and put it in front of children, and it's not, one, accurate, two, it's not proper history, and three, it's a bunch of stuff thrown together that's just headlines and you don't dive deep enough. Like, if you're able to have this conversation and tell it to a fifth grader or to a 5-year-old in a smaller way, like in a way that they can understand, an age appropriate way that they can understand it,
Which you do all the time.
which I do with my kids,
Yeah, we
and
all-
then they get reintroduced to it when they're in middle school, and you go a little deeper, and then they get reintroduced to it when they're in high school, and you
Layers.
go a little deeper, right? You'll
Layers
have,
of liberty.
yes,
Wow.
layers of liberty. You will have a fuller, more robust understanding of what America's role is, one, within its own creation, right? And two, within the world. And that is what is important.
Allie.
That's the kind of education we need to focus on.
Layers of Liberty, you're going to hear it first right here on Open
Right
Mic,
here.
ladies. We'll be authoring probably our
We're-
own.
we're-
We got
we're
a copyright.
trademarking
We got
that.
it right now.
We're trademarking that. So if I hear Layers of Liberty from anybody else, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna sue you. Don't play with me.
But I'm saying you might see, you might just see some really good, I don't know, learning
Maybe.
materials. Maybe.
And it might come from Allie and Michelle, the Hollow Alliance. You never know.
You never know who's going to do it. So Trump also, while he was in Davos, he talks specifically about the Golden Dome. He talks about Canada and how Canada will be, actually, our whole hemisphere is going to be protected by this. Take a listen.
We're building a Golden Dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Oh, remember that the next time you make your statements. I think this is amazing.
He says it so calm. Oh,
In front
Lord.
of them. Listen, there
Listen.
are those people. You know who you are that will say things behind people's backs all the time. And even what does the Bible say about it, right? If you have an issue, you're supposed to go to the person. Trump will not only go to the person, he'll say, give me a mic and I'll let everybody know while I'm talking to you.
Legit. Like, I feel like he's like the Solomon of our time. And I
Ooh.
pray that he doesn't fall like Solomon, but
Yeah.
I think that he has a wisdom beyond
Yeah.
what anybody else can comprehend, and the patience of a monk. It is insane. He has the not even a monk. He has the patience of Jesus. Like, it is wild.
It is.
The amount of patience this man has. And when he's speaking and he like jabs at you, it's not like a sarcastic, like certain people that are running for governor that are just clickbait, right? They try to poke at you to get either a reaction, whether it's a funny reaction, a laugh, or a gaffe, or to instill some kind of emotional turmoil. He's actually doing it with fervor, and it's like, this is what it is. And I'm not hyperinflating it. I'm not being emotional about it. It just is what it is.
And it lands. Wow,
love
it
it.
lands. He also called out the those that tried to take every asset we had here in America and plant it under the Green New Deal, Green New scam. He's talking about wind turbines. He's talking about, basically your country relying on some type of battery for an electric car. You don't even
love
have the
this.
process.
I saw
the
this. This is
ability.
great.
You don't have the ability to mine what you need for that battery. Take a listen.
Windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses, and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they can look like. They don't spin, they don't do anything. They use a thing called coal mostly. But China goes with the coal, they go with oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear.
So it's pretty funny because they basically created a product that they deem that you need to have. And if you don't have it, let's think about what was being told to us by AOC and others in this country. If we don't, I mean, think of Al Gore. Florida was supposed to already be underwater, according to Al Gore. You notice he doesn't talk about it anymore. They fear porn. And then they try to sell you a product that they're probably getting kickbacks from that industry. They're also probably have their hands tied in some kind of investment of it. We don't know for certain that it works. We have to get everything from another country. And then that country we're getting it from is using coal, oil, nuclear.
I'm going to break this down for you to where it touches your kitchen table. Big here in America, big pharma and philanthropists that are billionaires that have stock in a lot of the medications and the injectables that we're using don't even allow their children to use them. They use holistic medicine.
Yeah.
Another one, we have big tech companies. Big tech companies and their owners and the makers of those big tech companies don't even allow their children to utilize or have the cell phones or the tablets
Access to that,
or
yeah.
access to the apps that they're on. Why? Because they understand the science behind it.
The addiction
But yet
behind it.
they don't want to stop the American people for putting these guardrails in place, especially including AI that protects children's minds. While they're protecting their children's minds, they want to push a product to you. This is exactly what President Trump was talking about when he's talking about China makes them. He puts them up. They put them up like it's just
Like a model
for
home?
display, right? You can't do anything with it. It's just a display. Like, oh, look, we're using them too, but they're really not using them. But they're selling them to you for profit.
Yeah.
But they're not using it. But they demand you to. It's the same exact thing. I just connected it closer to home.
Absolutely, which is why Trump is so pro bringing all
That's why
manufacturing
they
back.
love us when we come lobby.
They're like, you get it. Will you please explain it? Well, and Allie, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, guys, that we have to be able to self-sustain. What do we teach our children?
Yeah.
What do we teach? What are we trying to do within our own families? We're trying to sustain by ourselves where you don't need to be so far over your skis that you're indebted to someone, something else, right? You want to try to make it to where you are in control of your future and your destiny. Why wouldn't we do that as a nation? Why would we require so heavily? Why would we lean so heavily on countries that hate us for things that we absolutely need in our day-to-day life? That's just not smart. That's willful ignorance by leadership prior to Trump.
Here's another example of that, like that you're saying. As a mom of 2 boys and 2 girls, I'm teaching my boys how to cook, just like I'm teaching my girls how to cook.
Yeah.
Why am I teaching my boys how to cook in the kitchen? Because I don't want them to be dependent on a female just so that they don't have to eat fast food. It's the same thing. You need to be self-sufficient. You don't have to depend on someone else to do something for you when you have the ability and the knowledge and the will to do it yourself.
Right.
Mom used to tell me, you have 2 hands and 2 feet. You better go over there and get it yourself.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And as each nation should have the right to do that themselves. And that's what I love about what Trump is doing in Davos, not only by creating a board of peace, but also by reigniting that idea of national sovereignty. We have it here in this country, and it's coming back strong. Let's go back to talk a little bit about the open border that we saw under Joe Biden and really the lack of security here in this country. Well, and
It's not professional, Ellie. I'm sorry.
So during that year, torturous year that we were pumping up to the election, one of the things we asked is, why would you do that? Literally, you can hear Barack Obama and Bill Clinton in the height of their presidency sound very much like Trump. Talking about what their job was as far
deportations too.
More deportations. Obama had 3 million deportations.
54 people were actually murdered too.
At this rate.
Died under ICE.
During his first year. Trump's at 1.5 million. So it's not about the deportations. You have to ask yourself, if Bill Clinton and Barack Obama both sounded much like President Trump right now when it comes to immigration, what is so different right now? And we talked about this. We scratched our head. Why are we allowing more people in here illegally? Why are we making it anti-ICE for them to go out and do their jobs. We played on this show, Barack Obama, while he was president, he had, I think it was CNN, did a ride along in Chicago for ICE officials. And they were largely crediting them to keeping the streets safe in Chicago.
But it's
so
not all
what
of a sudden
changed?
now.
What changed? And I think what you're seeing, Trump alludes to it here in this video. It's a longer video, but I feel like we need to watch it. He posted on Truth Social, which is a place where he's a little more free speaking. So take a listen and then we'll discuss it.
Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
If that's not a plan to overthrow the will of the people in America, I don't know what else is. If that is not clear to you, you have a cognitive dissonance problem. You need to go see a therapist.
And Allie, we've talked about it here. As much as we are right-leaning and as much as we are America First conservatives, we've said it here on this show.
Yes.
We seek at least a common sense Democrat Party because we right now we are absent really good debate. When it comes to laws, listen, we have to be very much one-sided, and we don't like that. One-party rule doesn't work for either party. The idea is when you've lost your party to something that's fallen so far left that you now have a Kennedy as a Republican, something is severely wrong.
Yeah.
And I only say that because we do like to say that we call balls and strikes on both sides of the aisle, but this, you can understand now why it was so important for the UN through your tax dollars to advocate for no borders, for borderless society. They meet right here in the United States, in New York City. They're funded heavily by the United States of America, and they're using your tax dollars largely to work against our best interest here in this country. But with what's turned in Davos by the leadership of Trump, I want you to take a listen to what the leadership in Davos is now saying as far as globalization being more global minded versus like more of an America First, national sovereignty minded. They get that they are losing the game. Take a listen.
Trump has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Ooh.
Somebody who if we were 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, dead politically, known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
We need to also factor in not only who's won, which is Trump, but who's lost, which is to say us. And I guess I would throw into that the epitome of the us who is losing here is Europe. That the European Union and by and large its member states have misread the direction where events were going. The causes that it is interested in, climate, human rights, some others, as well as the methods of diplomacy that it prefers, are simply being gradually kind of marginalized as something new, not necessarily something better, but something new moves into the center.
So I'm not saying that they are pro-Trump, but they understand that they have largely lost. We did not want globalization. Listen, if Trump, listen, Trump's version of globalization is to get a board of peace collaborated at Davos
It's
to push peace.
instill sovereignty.
That's as far as globalization should go. Leave
it.
each country sovereign to their own.
Mhm.
And I think largely this is what families all across the world want to
That's
see.
what they want.
Somebody else that spoke at Davos, which sent chills down my spine, because she once referred to people like Allie and I for going to school board meetings as domestic terrorists. What? We wore that proud, I guess, under her reign. This is Randy Weingarten.
Happy to be of service.
She's talking specifically. She's talking specifically about what they have to do with in terms of what we teach our children in the classroom and who's really authoring these books. This should scare every single American citizen. This is why they want to globalize education. We can't let it happen.
Scare not to retreat, scare to act.
Absolutely. Take a listen to Randy Weingarten.
So part of what we're trying to do here is say, how do we create this partnership between education, labor, government, and industry with the goal of creating these pathways so that kids, when they come out of high school or they come out of college, don't have to start saying, what am I going to do next? The pathways become important, and to create those pathways, you also have to create a curriculum, and you have to create this engagement with each other. And the last thing I'll say is this. When you do it, in the United States of America, we have 16,000 school districts. We have over 100,000 schools. There are industry partners all over. And you, Kiva, were the one who said, you can't keep on doing this industry by industry. You were the one who said, you can't keep on doing this governor by governor. How do we use the WEF to create this kind of integrated network so that we're all working together so that kids can have, from high school on, opportunities to have jobs that pay a living wage so that they can feed their family and nurture their family. And that is what happens in advanced manufacturing. So I'm honored that we are part of the creation of that curriculum, and we are all in.
Hold on. Good. Inside all of that word salad, probably authored by the same people that write Kamala stuff. What she's saying there is we can no longer leave our education system because we've got so many districts. We can't leave it up to district after district, or industry after industry, governor after governor. We have to centralize it. They are basically not saying, local action equals a national impact. They want to do away with local action. So all you leftists,
they're not even saying home rule.
All you leftists that come to school board meetings and you complain because you're in a red state that has a Republican governor, and you're like, we want things controlled locally. Your own lady, Randy Weingarten, is saying, no, we need a global education system. Think about what that means. That means you're saying that Americans don't have the right to control their own education system. Do you see why now it's so important to dismantle the Department of Education federally and bring it back to the states? We have got to keep our education more local.
This is extremely frustrating because there's no such thing as one size fits all in education. And we clearly have been seeing that since the dawn of 2020, because we had an inside look at what was going on through our school systems, through our electronics when they were remote learning, right? Yeah. But the way that the answer to her question is, how do we prepare students for life after school, which happens to be the slogan on Hillsborough County School Board, but they don't really prepare.
I'm sure it's not from the World Economic Forum.
But the left, and I might go off on a tangent because we were just in the education subcommittee here in Tallahassee, and the left's argument for preparing children for life after school is teaching them how to sex and what that looks like. They're not trying to teach them how to have proper relationships. They're not trying to teach them how to have conflict resolution, books about that. They want to keep smut and erotic material within the schools that arouse children, which all of them who voted no, all 5 Democrats, should be looked at by the Attorney General of Florida, James Uthmeyer. So I'm calling on you, sir. Anyway, my second point is the answer to Weingarten's question is, how do we prepare them for life after school when it comes to trade and manufacturing? We invest in trade and manufacturing
in this country.
And we teach that, we have that available to our students. We invest that in our high schools. We invest that in our middle schools.
But Allie, There's no industry or trade. There's no industry in this country if you've outsourced it all to other countries, which is why we come back to America first. This is why
Trump
it's
is
so
working.
important. Absolutely.
His administration is working.
It's not that difficult.
It is not hard to connect the dots like that. Like,
well,
I don't get it.
And we want to give a special shout out to James O'Keefe and O'Keefe Media Group, because as much as we've been saying, what are they doing in the skies? They're doing something. We were called, conspiracy theorists. Now many states have laws against
not happening.
spraying and seeding, but
It's impossible.
Take a listen to what James O'Keefe uncovered. We probably can't listen to it all, but we'll listen to a majority of it. Take a listen.
So we invest in these technologies to assist with the warming climate, and the effect of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere will help block some of the warming, and the particles stay in the air for 1 year. So, and actually we're speaking to some of the airplane manufacturers and to see if they can emit some of our technology into the atmosphere to help with the global warming. That's right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, climate. I mean, we don't like to use the term climate engineering. It scares people, so we prefer.
Of course, but it's but for me, being an engineer, I think that's actually what you do. It's like,
yes.
You can have financial engineering, you can have, I'm sure, climate engineering, because it involves something that's more scientific.
Yes, exactly. You're an engineer, you understand. And it's from Sweden, right?
Yeah.
So we don't like to call them chemtrails. We don't like to use this.
So what do you call it instead?
Well, we call it aerosol injection. Aerosol. It's kind of like little droplets.
Okay.
And the droplets form in the air, and they stay there for a year.
Yeah.
It's modeled kind of a mini volcanic eruption, actually.
Yeah. I mean, aviation fuels have some sulfur in them, so it creates some sulfur dioxide emissions naturally, and that does have a cooling effect.
Now, this guy, Kennedy Ritchie, who runs a company called For Air, spoke on stage, and he says on his website that he wants to, quote, decarbonize the aviation industry. He actually told me he was trying to eliminate contrails entirely, but then brought up cloud seeding.
A lot of the work actually came out of the military, so they do this all the time.
Have you worked with them at all? Or?
No, because they're a little more closed door about their procedures.
You ever heard of sulfur dioxide?
Yeah.
You've heard of that? Okay. Yeah.
It's actually pretty cheap to do it. The ability to put sulfur dioxide there is actually a pretty cheap way to cool down the earth.
Oh yeah.
So the opportunity for 1 or 2 people to do it is impressive. He went a little further. He's like, it'd be interesting if the government start doing this over each other's territories on purpose. Like if we start getting weather modification as a government, either good or bad. The closest one I'm aware of is someone called Airborne Snow Observatory. They do some more like weather, I don't want to say modification, but more like upper atmosphere weather monitoring is probably a better term.
Yeah. Now, according to the website.
Yeah. So go ahead, Allie.
No, I was just saying, like, do you now understand why they only do it in the pattern of where the sun is when it rises and it falls?
They're trying to block.
Right. They're trying to block the sun's rays and the heat, right, to effectively cool the planet. But I want everyone to do this. I want you to open up your computer on your little handheld, okay? And I want you to figure out or ask, whether it's an AI, whether it's just research, okay? What does sodium dioxide do to the body? In large doses, even small doses, over a year, exposure over years. What does that do to the body? I really want you to understand what that does to you. What are the health consequences? What are the cognitive
Allie,
consequences?
here in the state of Florida, when we last year when we got legislation passed to ban the chemtrails here in the state of Florida, we had people testify to large amounts of what could happen physically, some of the side effects we know that we were suffering. If you think about even allergies, if you think about eye irritants, you think about headaches, you think about breathing, asthma, all those things that we naturally attribute to being outside and just, the weather or just, the changes of the season. Adding these foreign substances into our air. And guys, it is happening because Florida passed a law. And then you know what? They're doing it anyway because we realized our airspace in the state is only controlled so high. And then the federal government comes in. So it's still happening. We need people to move on the federal level to
Lee Zeldin even talked about this, and he's trying to work on getting some kind of legislation together in order to block that federal program, which is highly important. I think Maha is actually working on this as well. So hopefully we get to see something. And if this is something that is concerning to you, I think that it would be important for you to be civically engaged
Yes.
and call your congressman. I mean, on top of all of the other things that you're texting them and emailing them about.
Absolutely. It should be a daily thing. You can take 10 minutes each day
And just
to get in
list out
touch.
some things. These are some things that we are expecting of you because we have given our consent to be governed by you. So we are expecting you to govern properly.
Well, someone that's not governing properly and looks like he's losing his mind. I couldn't believe this was the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. He's scaling a fence with a megaphone, and he's feeding fear porn.
Family.
Listen to what he sounds like. Take a look at Tim Walz.
Served on the China Commission in Congress, ironically enough, as co-chair with Marco Rubio. We used to bring in Chinese political prisoners, and we would ask them, when we speak up and call out your government, is it bad? And they said, well, in the short run it's bad because they torture us. But if you don't speak up, they will torture us and forget about us. And the idea is right now is we have to be speaking up. We have to call it out. You are doing everything, and our neighbors are doing everything. And I can't stress enough on this. We're winning it because we're doing it with Minnesota grit, Minnesota humor, Minnesota decency. Oftentimes talk about this, and I know people are discussing this a lot. I spent a lot of time with John Lewis on nonviolent resistance. The resistance matters. We're not telling people to be silent, but we're not telling people to go out and cause problems. We're going to cause good trouble.
Think about this. Good Trouble got Renee Good killed.
Right.
Because they considered Good Trouble teaching people to park their cars in obstruction of law enforcement and then not listen to their asks of moving the car. I mean, that's not good trouble. You know what's not good trouble also, Tim Walz, is taking the tax dollars that were entrusted to you by your fellow Minnesotans and giving them to Somalians who largely take suitcases back to their country, open up sham businesses that are just storefronts, and
giving it to terrorist organizations.
Absolutely. This is Tim Walz unhinged, y'all, unhinged. And again, you can go in and check
of a governor
and check for yourself.
Wait, hang on. Hold up.
The people that they are that they are arresting are criminals. Yes.
Do you remember when President Trump was at the podium on January 6th and he said, we are going to peacefully walk over. I want you to peacefully walk over and let your voices be heard.
And then they impeached him.
Yeah.
Under insurrection.
Inciting violence. How is this I mean, this is obviously different than that because he is quite literally a governor. Can you imagine if Ron DeSantis had a microphone at a rally or a megaphone at a rally and was saying, we're causing good trouble. We want you to go out and riot and obstruct justice. Like, I mean, it's like slightly under, they stay slightly under being illegal, slightly under.
Again, if you want to take a look
Could you imagine?
At these criminals that largely they are going after, again, criminals or those associated with them. So remember when your parents told you that your friendship and your circle of influence does matter because you kind of get lopped into the same group. Well, who you surround yourself with does in fact matter. They have now created Trump's Department of Health DHS has just launched a public online database exposing every illegal alien. Take a look at this.
I love that. I love that. Receipts. They have receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that, ABC?
So just
CNN.
Just go to the Department of Homeland Security and you can check not only where they came from, but what the crime was. And so if you, regardless of immigration status, you shouldn't want criminals in your neighborhood. So,
jeez,
not sure. Yeah. Allie, you sent me this the other day because this is something that's been talked about a lot. It's the idea of due process. Obviously, we
keep hearing.
Well, right? We love due process. We wish that it would work when the Democrats are in power, but obviously they don't really care so much about that. So you sent this to me and the Associated Press has picked it up. But when the Associated Press picks up something, that's usually the go-ahead for other people and other organizations and news media to pick something up as well. And you wait and you wait and you wait to see if they're going to. And lots of times, depending on what the story is, not everybody picks it up. But this is the Assistant Secretary, Tricia McLaughlin. She says this, and I'm quoting her. Every illegal alien who DHS serves administrative warrants They're called I-205s. Have had full due process and a final order of removal from an immigration judge.
What? They've had full due process?
Yes. So
have a final deportation order?
I need to send this to
What?
Tom Edwards, our school board member, who just incited basically a riot of, I mean, there was protests. They were mostly peaceful, but this is, yeah.
This should calm the hearts and minds of those
You
really
can sleep
concerned
tonight now. Yeah.
of the illegal criminals that are running rampant in your cities and
Yeah.
being, captured by ICE agents. The
They're
masked
getting
men
their due
with
process.
arms.
They're getting their due process. Now, what you need to understand is that due process looks different for a citizen versus a non-citizen.
Obviously.
They're not going through a jury of their peers. This is
They
different.
can't. They don't
When
have
it's immigration law, it's different, but they are following the law.
Right.
So
And we've never seen, or maybe we have, I don't know, with 5 million people being deported in Obama and 3.5 million being deported in Clinton. Like maybe we have seen the legislation or the judges move in a faster capacity when they're not obstructing and legislating from the bench.
Yeah.
It happens, right? So this is the problem with not having proper education and people being sensationalized instead of using logic. And that is the point. It's never about the issue. It's always about control. James Lindsay talks about this. That is the communist Marxist way. And that is currently what we're dealing with. We're no longer dealing with a Democrat party. We're dealing with a communist Marxist party. And it's never about the issue. It's always about control. Oppressed versus oppressor. That's
absolutely. Guys, we are, of course, we are coming to you live from Tallahassee, where we are engaging with our legislature here at the capital of Florida.
it. Very well.
So so if you notice that, we've got sound and lighting and some qualities with internet, just give us some grace. Did you know that the SAVE Act and voter integrity should be a bipartisan issue?
Yeah.
Do you believe it? Well, apparently a lot on the left actually agree with this. So take a look. This is a graph that was put out. You could see there. It does show.
I love visuals. I really do.
It says a very strong majority of 62% of most liberals want people to prove citizenship before voting. If this SAVE Act is not passed, guys, we have
a huge problem.
We have Houston, we have a problem. This was obviously shared by Elon Musk. We're going to give credit to Arthur McWaters. If you follow him on social media, he's great. But this doesn't make sense to me why we're not able to push this through. If we're really a reflection, if we are elected to office and a reflection of the electorate that we represent, then there should not be an issue, right? Look, moderate, very liberal, even very liberal 62% still want to have some kind of a proof of citizenship before you vote. Why? Because I don't believe, even if I can't agree with you on policy, you want to know that who won.
Yeah.
We should all want that, right? Like we should want that. Otherwise we're not.
If you don't want foreign influence, say, let's hypothetically
Russia.
Say that Russia was actually involved in our election interference during Trump's first term.
Which they wanted Hillary to win.
Right. Obviously, because it wasn't about Trump. It was about, being able to sidestep and get their way. And they know they can't with Trump. So imagine, I don't even know where I was going with that. I was just like, whatever. But honestly, like if you don't want foreign interference with elections from the right, why would you want foreign interference with any election, whether it's right or left?
Everybody should remember, you learned this in school. Remember you learned this where you got to wait in line and you've got to keep score and you've got to play by the rules. And this is what's funny. We were at the school board meeting the other day and we're standing in line and there's a line around the globe, right? To be able to get in. And as we're getting closer to the door, everybody's cutting in line. And I'm like, wait a minute. These are the same people that believe in open border policies. You don't believe in waiting your turn ever.
Right.
Ever. And then you try to step up and they're like, I was there. And it's like, oh, now it matters.
Oh,
now it matters. Okay. Yeah. So that's the waiting your turn. That's kind of how we want the immigration system to work.
And then we're called all kinds of out our names. So,
well, we're called those anyway. It's now, you know what? It doesn't just matter who your fans and who your supporters are. It matters who your enemies are. You can judge the right person and their character by the right enemies that they have. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Mike Lindell has obviously been on the heels of election integrity for a long time. He is going to talk a little bit about something he really couldn't have talked about until now. And it was, something that took place during the a lot of the trials that you saw where they alleged election interference and election ballot harvesting and other things. Judges, he believes, are being, I guess, strong-armed into dropping these charges and dropping these cases.
Who's strong-arming them?
Well, listen to Mike Lindell. I'll let him explain.
He, in front of the judge, took a ballpoint pen, hacked into the machine, flipped the whole election, and he did it twice in front of the judge. Now the judge is trapped. And I felt sorry for that judge. I go, what is she going to do? Because this is like the mafia days. Here's what the judge, when she set this to go forward, I guarantee she thought, well, there's going to be nothing to see there. I'll be able to, let's move this forward and they can show that their machines are just fine and dandy. Well, now she's trapped. And I said, this judge will never let this go. Well, she'll never say, hey, we got to get rid of them before the 2024 election, because she would be, it'd be a bad deal for her. So, and I knew that. So here's think of the organized crime. Hello, Judge. You're living with a pretty nice family. How you doing today? I'm sure that you're going to make the right decision, and not even taking what it is, because this is how deep this goes. Now, you go past the 2024 election. Here we are, and I think it was March of this year. This judge finally makes a ruling. You know what it was? She kicks, after 7 years, kicks the case out with no standing. This was Democrats, Republicans. 7 years, she said this had standing, brought it in, went to court, and that's just so a judge can have an out. And that gave her an out.
7 years you've been saying that this had standing and merit. They proved that it could be hacked and you could have votes overturned. And after 7 years of a judge saying this has standing, decided to kick it out. You can't tell me that pressure didn't get to someone somewhere. And we see it. We see it happening with legislators. You legislators, you think a bill is moving and tracking this one way, and then all of a sudden it takes a left turn and you're like, what just happened? Well, there was influence.
Obviously, there's influence. There has to be influence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to move on just for the sake of time, guys, because a gentleman who represents the southern part of Florida as a House of Representatives member, who's also a governor candidate here in the state of Florida, Byron Donalds, he weighed in Congress when they're talking about, just proper implementation of the law and justice system. Obviously, we don't want a two-tier justice system. So he's talking about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton getting subpoenaed to come before Congress to testify, and they want to have all these special, I guess, treatment for them. They want the prosecutors to come to them. They want, they don't want anything to be transcribed or on the record. So listen to Byron Donalds kind of catch on to this in the middle of the debate, and what he said was pretty perfect. Take a listen.
Time's expired. Chair recognizes Mr. Donalds.
Chairman, point of clarification. Both President Clinton and Secretary Clinton were subpoenaed by this committee to come in for a transcribed interview. Is that correct?
For a deposition.
Excuse me, for a deposition. Chairman, I've been in these closed depositions a number of times in my time being on the Oversight Committee. I fail to see what President Clinton's talking about with respect to a dignified manner. Every time I've been involved in any of these conversations, even when it was former President Biden's son came in for one of those, and I'm not trying to bring up all the Hunter stuff. It's just a point I'm making. I think everybody just take the temperature down, relax. Even those the closed door depositions have always been held in a dignified manner. Members have had questions outside of questions from committee staff, but members on both sides of the aisle had an ability to answer those questions. Those interviews are recorded. The transcripts of those interviews are provided to the public. I fail to see what special accommodations President Clinton and Secretary Clinton were looking for. Chairman, can you help me understand this? Or even a ranking member. I'm really trying to understand. I'm not trying to make a point. We do too much of
Yeah. So, I understand that's exactly what he's saying. Like, listen, we've seen these play out for a long time. Why is it not happening when it comes to the Clintons? And Allie, I love
the fact that they're trying to say that it's not dignified to come to Congress. Like, what are you trying to say? That Congress is useless and it's a circus? Oh,
like what you said during the J6 Unselect Committee. That yeah. Very interesting, guys. We are going to play. I wanted to play a short funny clip, but I'm actually wondering if we should show David's clip first.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right.
I mean,
One of the things I loved
set it
about
up.
David behind the scenes is that, he comes up with lots of great
stuff
material.
to corroborate what we're talking about.
So
Just to remind you.
Let's go ahead and play your clip, David, and then we'll discuss
talk
it
about
for a quick minute afterwards.
Let me just get this out of the way. No, I'm not over it. I still think about the 2016 election. I still regret the mistakes I made. I still think, though, that understanding what happened in such a weird and wild election in American history will help us defend our democracy in the future. Now, I see, looking out at you, that you are following the tradition of over-the-top hats. So I brought a hat, too. A Russian hat. Look, I mean, if you can't beat them, join them.
Interesting. So that was just in 2018 after she lost to Donald Trump. I don't ever see that really played over and over again.
Ever.
David, thank you for reminding us that they do say the quiet part out loud a lot. They
No,
don't seem to have a
nobody
problem with it.
says anything.
Absolutely. Guys, that's it for us here with Open Mic today. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Tell your family and friends about it so that we can help you figure out how these policies and things, how they affect you in your family, in your living room, and at the kitchen table. We're grateful that you joined us.
And don't forget to visit libertycigars.com and use promo code OpenMic for 10% off your order so that you can celebrate the American Greenland deal that has just taken place. So smoke the history we are currently living. Love you guys.
We love you. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.